Well, the plan to break California off from the rest of the United States is back with an interesting new twist. The leaders of Calexit have announced a new version of their scheme to create an independent California. In this, all federal lands in the state, which is about half of all of California, will be returned to American Indian tribes, creating, quote, the first ever autonomous Native American nation in North America. Organizers say this country would provide a buffer zone between the California Republic and Trump's America. Marcus Ruiz-Evans is co-founder of Calexit and always game enough to come on our show, and we appreciate that. He joins us tonight from Fresno. Marcus, thanks a lot for coming on.
So, Tucker, thanks for having me back on again, and I came prepared. We brought you your shirt. I'll ship it to you after the show.
I love it. I will wear that, ironically, of course. But I'm looking at this plan, and I notice that the Indians are getting the inland parts, the eastern parts of California, and everybody else is getting the choice real estate where the majority of the state's population lived. If you really wanted to atone for historic sins, why wouldn't you give the Indians Santa Monica, La Jolla, right? Napa? Why not do that?
Good point. That's a great point. You're totally right.
Yeah.
You know, the best thing to do for Native American people would be to give them back all of the land, and everybody who's not Native would leave, and then petition to become an immigrant, and then Native people could choose who they wanted to come back in. Obviously, that's not going to happen. So what we did at Calexit was say, what's the best thing that we could do that's not going to fix genocide, isn't going to fix everything, not make it all perfect, but what's the biggest leap that we could make in the right direction? And we felt that giving over half of California, and basically the American-controlled part, to Native people who actually own the land would at least be a step in the right direction. And I want to point out...
Now, are you basing this... Wait, can I just ask you... No, I know. Sure. It's California. You know what I mean? Like, you'll figure it out. It's a work in progress. But is there a specific Indian reservation that you think is a kind of model for good governance that you're basing this on? Can you point to a reservation currently in the United States and say, we want California to be more like that?
No. Well, first, we don't call them Indians. We call them natives or indigenous. Second, we don't call it a reservation.
Well, a lot of Indians call themselves Indians, just so you know. Okay.
I'm not trying to debate. I'm just saying how we in Calexit refer to it. It's definitely not a reservation. And to answer your question, we're doing it as not a reservation because there is no good model of a reservation. Reservations are a failed system by Americans to make up for the genocide that they caused against Native people. Native people don't actually
I agree with that, actually.
Forbes magazine pointed this out.
No. I mean, it's demonstrably true. The reservations are a disaster for the people who live on them. No, I totally agree with that. Are you worried, though, that this could be open to exploitation? I mean, what would prevent Elizabeth Warren from coming in as an Indian and saying, I'm now the king of this new country? I mean, would there be some test to make sure that you really are an Indian before you take possession of half of California?
So I want to point out what I said was that reservations aren't working out because of America. America does not let Native people own their land. They're not able to take profits from it. The FBI can go and harass them anytime. The schools provided for them are horrible. The court system provided for them is horrible. And they don't even have the ability to protect their own drinking water, as we saw with the protests recently. To answer your question specifically, Elizabeth Warren would not be able to come in there unless the Native people of that area said that she's welcome. So if the Native
tribe said,
well,
hold on, Marcus, slow down. She is a Native person,
which is their call, then yes, she could. But if they didn't do that, it doesn't matter what she says, she wouldn't be allowed in.
Okay, well, I think now you're winning me over. Now, I just want to know how this works. So the idea is this is atonement for things that happened a long time ago. So if one of my ancestors had something stolen from him 150 years ago, does that mean that the descendants of the person who stole it owe me the money with interest, if I can find them? This is under your kind of system of justice. Yeah, it is.
So not at an individual level. So if your grandfather did something racist and horrible, you shouldn't be punished for that. However, you did benefit from it, but it's a mistake to go after you as a person. So what we're saying is that the people and the government representing the people should make amendments. So we're not saying we're picking on individuals. We're saying the government of California should take a step.
Millions of people live in this area. We're almost out of time, but what's going to happen to the millions of people who live in this Indian country, like you are an Indian?
Well, the primary Trump voters who live in that area will have to do what brown-skinned people tell them to do, because brown-skinned people will be in charge. And if they don't like that, they're welcome to leave California.
Wow, re-education camps. I knew it was going to get to this, Marcus. What I love about you is your honesty. We're out of time. 9 seconds left. Great to see you tonight. Thank you. I know you are. I love that.
Thank you, Tucker.